is good? What anniversary? What is good, yo? Let's get straight into this weird, freaky, deaky show where all of these powers and weird people just don't make any sense unless you live in their world and can make sense of it all. Some interesting twists and turns, including with our main characters, of course, but even with the people of the hearts as well. We are definitely in a position where everything kind of just feels fresh in the case of whatever pops off. We don't necessarily have an understanding of, like why it's happening. And because of that, it always comes off as almost somebody who has put in, just the effort to making this show as a whole, in my opinion, somewhat of a mind bottling experience. And I don't see anything wrong with it so far. Like I said in my last review, um, if you didn't see it, it's just I feel like this is going to become the norm after a while. Like sooner or later, this super weird show is just gonna be doing stuff that I'm like, oh yeah, that's relatively normal at this point. This week's episode, we straight up had a Walking Dead episode where, after a while of distortion and the world itself, or the whole, I should say, gets hit by these weird, um, just changes in the case of the world is not supposed to be having no sorcerers doing what they're doing, and not only that, once they're doing it, this black like mist that they emit is almost the reason why the world looks the way it does. Like it's cloudy and it's just really dark, even during the day, and it's because supposedly because of the sorcerers and because of the sorcerers killing, um, there's actually a crazy reaction to the world, and with it, nothing is staying stable. So the dead are coming back to life that's been killed by the sorcerers. The earth itself is a lot more cloudy and covered in black smoke that the sorcerers emit, and it's just another thing that kind of builds more tension and less understanding between why these people are frowned upon and why even do they have these powers, right? Like, why are these, where does this stuff come from? How did it get here? And for some reason, uh, we've seen two different ways of how to use the mist, or at least maybe more than two, but you get the point. There's different ways to use this black magic that they kind of have dormant in them, and one way is to open up a fresh wound and start bleeding, supposedly, and another one is just the mouth. For some reason, just shooting it out of your mouth is a huge thing that just kept happening this week. Like every time we saw the people who work for the bad people in general, that's all. Also, like the only way we've seen these guys really use their magic, besides the heart guy. The boss used the mist out of his mouth, turning people into mushrooms, while the girl who is everybody's calling best girl uses the mist out of her mouth and heals someone's face completely, and even like her memory and stuff like that, it just was hazy at the moment and had the potential of getting stronger. So these sound like some really alien-esque powers, just healing anything. Not only that, she's pretty much about to heal the same girl that she healed this week again, well, twice in one episode, and her first thing was having her face tore off, and then the next thing is a zombie virus, which, like I was saying, this episode was just practically dedicated to Living Dead and taking them out for the time being and kind of keeping a clock on where all the characters were. And let me be one of the first people, or at least one of the people that acknowledge this, is I thought this was all going to take place, or at least like the beginning half, where the story left off, right? Like, I think I have a problem when shows give me one thing and then completely just back out of it 100%, or they just drop it. Because last time I checked, they were inside of a club. Our main guy bit down on someone's head, learned some stuff about him that he wasn't the one. After doing that, he then had the guy put needles on him and all different types of stuff. And after they figured all that out, and he gave our girl her reading, like her fortune, we then come to find out that she should be aware of the heart, or a heart is trying, something of an emblem with a heart is trying to take your life. And then they pop up at the club. The show does not even show the club, right? Like the club is non-existent, almost as if this whole situation happened in a different episode or something. Like none of it was disclosed. Not even the fact that they pretty much were sent here and knew exactly where they were at that time. Or they're just gonna say that once they were sent to the club, they just happened to not be there at that time or something. I really don't know how they're gonna play that one out, but that was relatively jarring for me, just being like, oh yeah, by the way, none of that stuff is happening, and we're on to the next thing. Here we go, keep up. It's like, that definitely kind of shows you the inexperience that's probably going on behind the scene of some of this stuff. And it's kind of sad, but at the same time, it's kind of foreseeable with how things have been going with Netflix and how they kind of just allow whoever, whatever, do whatever they want, and seeing where that goes, right? So, I mean, unless it's like this in the manga where they show up while the people are at the club, and then the next chapter comes out and they're not the club and none of that stuff takes place there. Alright, bet. That's whatever. That's how it's supposed to be. That's how it's supposed to be. But it just felt weird. It just felt like a waste of placement. Not only that, the person that he did the whole head biting thing and finding out he's not him, was that just filler? Like, was that even real? Like, did that even matter? And this week's episode, seeing him do that and it kind of biting him back in the butt for doing it, we learned just how durable this guy is. Not only getting his head removed, but then, uh, having his like brain pierced first and still even being able to like fight and stuff like that. So I guess he didn't have his brain pierced because when we looked at the brain from the dissection, it wasn't damaged. So he just got hit pretty hard enough to lose consciousness, I'm guessing. So overall, though, our girl put up a decent fight, but going against that other masked girl is whew, it's not a good time for her. Um, it was pretty cool, but at the same time, like I was saying, it was over quick and in a hurry. So these two absolutely destroyed our main characters, and it's weird to say that they came out alive. Like I was kind of waiting for the Deus Ex Machina, which kind of turned into our main girl being a sorcerer and biting her fingernail to pretty much activate her ability, which we did. The only other places like I was saying, is the mouth and the fingers. Like the fingers, reoccurring place that they use it. Mostly the people are using it for like the doors and stuff like that, but I don't know what to really expect with this show, and that's kind of the fun part. And I've been watching a lot of shows that get kind of obvious over time, and I'm hoping with, I think 12 or 13 episodes, yeah, I think it was 12 episodes of this show, they can at least give me more and more of this ridiculousness where him losing his head, still being alive, and then taking the head to try to dissect it. And once they get to opening the mouth to look inside, it's almost like the human form manifests in some way with the full magic, since he's a implement, like his body is completely black. I'm gonna just say he's made of the black mist that the sorcerers use, pretty much. And he winds up either taking the head or like disposing, like putting it in the grinder or something, right? So I don't know what the heck that even means, and of course our characters miss that tidbit because they're too busy trying to beat up the doctor, thinking he's the one who actually did it and is messing with them or something. I don't even know, but I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys are talking about for this show, or if you're gonna drop it, whatever the case may be. I am your boy, the Anime G, and I do not know if anything's coming out after this, but if there is, I will talk to you then, and if not, I will talk to you in the next one. So, with that being said, peace.